Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Music Lab podcast. My name is Dogg, and I am so happy to be back with another episode for all of you. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, do all that fun stuff for our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us, that helps the bands and artists that we feature, like today, the West Texas Exiles. Also, don't forget to check out our sponsor. It's RAR Outfitters, RAWR, outfitters.com. Check them out for all your clothing needs. It's springtime in most of the country, but the weather is definitely not seeming like that. So, guys, welcome to the show. How are we all feeling?
Thanks for having us, man. Thanks for having the Exiles. Doing great. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Colin, you doing great, brother?
Oh yeah. I didn't know who we were waiting on. Yeah,
You're fine.
man.
So we
Waking up.
You guys just came off playing two nights, Friday night and Saturday night in Lubbock, and where else?
Kerrville.
And then we made a quick run up to Turkey, Texas, and did a little video there, a little live video.
Oh, can you share details or?
Turkey, Texas.
Yeah,
Home of Bob Wills.
Yeah, we have our good friend Carly, I guess is part owner of Hotel Turkey up there, and they are doing something. There's a vacant boot shop next door, and they're starting to do some just live acoustic videos. They have a great wall, a great old wall for a backdrop. And we just did the single that is going to be released next. So yeah, we'll be putting out that video sometime.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I think. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Colin.
I think so. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
So, Colin, you joined the band about what you said almost 2 years ago.
Well, a year and a half ago, I guess. I kind of. We all joined forces at in September of 22 for a Buddy Holly tribute, and after that we played some more shows, and I joined in December of that year. So yeah, about a year and a half now. It feels like it's been my whole life. I can't believe it's been that short. It's bizarre.
I was talking with my girlfriend about just the friendship between the band members and the wives, and like I really feel we've been a band for a year and a half. It wasn't the Exiles till Colin came in, but I feel like I've known those boys my entire life.
Yeah. So, Colin, you released a solo album back in 2013. Is that correct?
I think that was my last one. Yeah.
Okay, last full length album, and then you've done an EP. What, in 2019?
Let's see. Well, no, I did one with the Exiles. What did we do that last year? But yeah, the last release I had was 100 years ago, about on my own. Yeah, I think that was the Wild and Hollow. It was about 2013, my last one. Yeah. It's been a good long while since I put anything out.
So how is that dynamic with those players and those session musicians or your band at that time different than with what the Exiles?
Well, the band that I did that one with was mostly a couple of twin brothers in Chicago, the Bennett brothers, and Tim and Jason Bennett that used to be in Bastard Sons of Johnny Cash, and we formed a close friendship and a camaraderie. We became lifelong friends, and so they had a big part of my sound on my own, but it was still my thing. It was still me leading the charge. And so with the Exiles, it's like 5 people that were kind of like their own, like each one of them was like a little star in their own way. And so when I joined them, I realized, I was like, my God, I've never seen this kind of thing where every member of the band is such a crucial part. I've never been in that kind of thing before. So it's really been a treat, and it's really I feel like unlocked potential in me that wasn't there before. It's kind of like, I was kind of like, all of a sudden I'm like, we together we create superpowers. That's
That's a wonderful trait to be able to do, my friend.
oh, it is, yeah.
So I got turned on to you guys, obviously through South by Southwest. You have played there before. Some of you are from Austin, or at least you spent a lot of your time in Austin. First of all, talk about the South by experience. You guys did 13 shows this year. Give the audience a taste of what that means.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was the first time that I had ever done a South by marathon of that kind of magnitude. In the past, with my prior band, we kind of played South by one or two shows, maybe 1 or 2 years, and just never did it. So I think the fun and exciting thing about embarking upon that big of an endeavor for me, it's daunting. But when everyone is in the same headspace, everyone is excited to be at every single show. Um, it's a blast. It was a week of getting to do what I want to do.
How about you, Colin?
It was, yeah, it was, for me, it was, I've played South by Southwest quite a few times, but this one was just something else. How many shows we played, but we got tired throughout it, but it's like every show we kind of got re-energized, and the crowd got re-energized from it. So
Yeah.
it's like, man, for being able to do that for that many shows in a row, I'm like, I think we can do this.
It's
Um,
really the only festival in the world too that I know of that you can do that. Like there
Yeah,
isn't, most music festivals you're playing one night or, like you said, one or two shows at the most, maybe like a daytime, if you're like an early on, like not a headline or anything, and then you might have like a late night after show or anything, but that's it.
yeah,
But
yeah, the closest thing I found to it was Americana Fest, and
right.
it's a more it's a smaller, more curated version of South by in the sense that there are different venues throughout the city. But yeah, I think I don't think there are any Americana Fest people that did 13 shows.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
So what like Nashville compared to Austin? Like what do you like about Nashville that you don't like about Austin, and then vice versa for both of you?
For me, I don't get to go to Nashville as often as I would like to. So, and I've lived in Austin for coming up on 14 years now. So, it might be the kind of thing that you kind of get tired of home. And when you go to a new city, it's fun and exciting. Every time I've gone to Nashville, I have loved it. Just the quality of player, the quality of musician, like the writing out there. You have to be in your A game because I think there's just so much. There's industry there. You have labels, you have A&R folks, you have booking agents. All the big names are in Nashville, and uh, that's not the case for Austin. But I mean, the live music scene in Austin is incredible. We've had a Continental Club residency. We had it, I think it was October, or it was October, and then we did it through January. Maybe it was November. But just being able to be a part of that, and you know, seeing the Austin music community come out on a Wednesday at midnight is, I think, that kind of shows what Austin is about. What do you think, Colin?
I agree. The I've only been to Nashville a handful of times, and I always had a good time there. And I was always impressed by the musicianship that I saw there, and one thing I have to give Nashville is that if you compare Austin and Nashville, Nashville's got a kind of a bit of a well-oiled machine behind it, and it's got like a point A to point B path that songwriters go and take, and either succeed or fail. But Austin, you come here to just embrace the chaos, and that's kind of where we thrive as a live band. I think that's why we do well here, is because Austin it's a big community, very 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 pretty tight knit community. It's I've lived here since '89, and I've seen it go from a kind of small town to a mega metropolis, for by our standards anyways. But it's still the music scene here is there's a lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of musicians can come to Austin and feel a bit lost just because of that, because there's no major labels here. There's no they don't do the Tin Pan Alley kind of deal, writing session thing like they do in Nashville. But it's two different cultures, and it's I think there's pluses to going to both of them if you're serious about music.
Yeah, this was my sixth time at South by, and I think the first time that I went to South by, I went to the Continental, and like, I get it. Like, that place, there is something about that place. And another band that we're friends with, the Peterson Brothers, which you guys are probably
Oh
familiar
yeah,
with. Well, they had a residency at the Continental, and like, they talked about it. It was just a huge, like, for them, it was just a huge honor, like, just a huge honor to play in a place where so many greats have played over the years. And you just feel like the nostalgia of that place.
yeah,
Yeah. It's
true.
yeah, it's special. I mean, that's the first with this band. That's kind of the first opportunity I've ever had to play an establishment like that in a residency format, and it's awesome. It feels great.
Was there a lot of discussion about the set list, knowing that you had to, come up with basically a 2-hour show for the, foreseeable future?
Some nights set lists were discussed.
Yeah,
Some nights set lists were written out, and I think I was usually the one that was like, "I'm gonna play something else. I'm gonna throw
yeah,
a different song." I always go off script. So yeah, a lot of nights we just got up there and, "You want to try a song that we've never done? Like, hear the chords. Let's do it."
that was one of the cool things about the residency is, yeah, we did. We got we've kind of found a comfort zone, and we figured out how to, like, make a good splash in the beginning, and then throughout the night throw in some stuff, that throw some curveballs. And
Any covers or anything that was memorable that the audience really responded to?
We threw in quite the covers were the ones that were usually 2 minutes before the show. All right, it's G, D, then you go to the A minor, and the bridge.
yeah,
You go to B. It's I don't know what was
threw in some like some Rolling Stones. We did some Waylon Jennings. We did
Pogues.
some Pogues. Yeah, we did If I Should Fall from Grace with God, and
Dirty Old Town.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
I want to get to the point to where, and this is, idea session right now, but we've talked a little bit about it, but having one night like Exiles do Exile. We just cover Exile on Main Street by the
Oh
Stones.
yeah, yeah.
And then one night we, just do all Pogues covers, pick a band
Yep.
each of us. Anyway, preview
Totally,
maybe. We'll
totally
see.
down with that.
In a city like Austin, you could totally get away with that. Like, and
Oh yeah,
it would be recepted as well, or if that's a word.
yeah.
So let's talk about Volume 1, because that was your first EP as a band, correct?
Yeah, yeah, that was the first EP, and the genesis of that EP. I think that was before Colin came along. Honestly, Volume One predates the Exiles in a lot of ways. It started out during COVID. The prior band I was in, obviously, we lost. We had a huge summer worth of gigs into the fall. You know, it was the calendar was stacked. We lost all the shows, so I started writing a whole lot. And at the time, I was making no money. I decided, hey, I'm going to record a solo album. And I've known Eric Harrison since honestly, I think it's since the first time I ever played Austin. I think he ran sound. So I've known Eric for a while, and he has Studio 601 in South Austin, and called him up, said, "Hey, I wanted to do this record." We started cutting that. Around that time, I had met Daniel Davis. It was one of the few outdoor shows that had poked through the restriction guideline. You know, we were able to pull it off safely, and it was nice to play. But the opening band was great. The keyboard player stood out the most. Struck up a conversation with him. We became fast friends. Called him up when I was recording. I want to say is when I was doing Monday Night. I said, "Hey, this song needs some keys, some rock and roll, organ and piano, and some harmonies." And Daniel came to the studio. Trinidad, who was the drummer in my prior band, was already drumming on it. Eric was already playing bass on it. And it just kind of got to the point where Daniel was doing his solo album. He was starting to record some stuff there. We just figured playing on each other's albums, you know, like let's just start a band. And yeah, the songs that you hear on Volume One were kind of picked from two kind of solo endeavors, and yeah, that's what those songs are. And this was, this was before Colin came into the mix, so sometimes I even want to go back and re-record some of those songs just
Oh
to
yeah.
get Colin has
Well, I
added
kind of got
so
my
much to
mark on them.
this.
I kind of put my mark on them with a mandolin and some backing vocals. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but my last minute say so.
yeah.
Yeah. So you spoke of Monday Night. Did Daniel, for me at least, on that song, and I want you to speak on that EP in general, but for that song in particular, I really felt like he brought like a warmth to that song. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely think he knows how to jangle and sparkle when he needs to with the keys and with his harmonies. But he knows vocally his tone is incredible. You know, his pitch is he's a one take Jake, as I like to call him in the studio. He jumps in the booth, sings a verse. It's like couldn't have been any better.
That's very true.
Yeah, I'm envious of that. But no, the organ and his harmonies on that song definitely. You're right, brought a warmth.
So let's talk about, I want to talk about then the song that really kind of turned me on to you guys was Hotel Tomorrow. Um, is there a story behind that song, or was it just kind of a collaborative effort like most of the songs now going?
Well, that one is one that Daniel started,
Okay.
and I think he had an idea for the first verse, which he sings in the song. Um, and I don't know if I'm telling the story right, but if I'm not mistaken, the original lyrics were "Thoughts of Tomorrow," and the engineer, when we were kind of cutting a demo, Mike Ingber, he's the engineer at 601 Studios. I think he thought Daniel said "Hotel Tomorrow," so he wrote that. Yeah, he saved his "Hotel Tomorrow," and then we heard that. We're like, that just it really tied the idea of the song together. And then the second verse is the one that I sing, and I on the spot kind of ad-libbed a verse, and we have the demo take, and stream of consciousness, what came out isn't too far from what made it on the record. So yeah, that's Hotel tomorrow for sure.
My favorite lyric is, "I just hope the light I carry don't burn out." Like that is just such a great lyric. Was that Daniel's or was that Mark yours?
That was Daniel's. If yeah, I'm pretty sure that sounds like a Daniel line. And yeah, he has the ability to just have those lines just smack you.
Yeah.
So well done. So well done. So let's talk about another song that is so well done. Wind's Gonna Blow. Talk about the international songwriting, that, and then again, like the story behind that song, or if there is one.
Yeah, so first of all, the international songwriting competition, we submitted Hotel Tomorrow last year and we got second place. So we missed the mark by one. But I didn't even know that we had Eric submitted Wind's Gonna Blow. And I didn't even know that it got submitted until like the finalist page was up and Eric, I think he texted the group and was like, hey, we're finalists again for
Yeah.
the international songwriting competition. So yeah, it's do you know how many were submitted this year, Colin?
What's that? How many?
Submissions there were?
Oh, I don't know. Like I think it was like the last time was 15,000, I think, or something like that. And it was, good hefty number. And it, I guess Hotel Tomorrow stood out, and apparently Wind's Gonna Blow has also. It's really really cool to watch.
Yeah. And this year especially, I've noticed some names on the finalist list that like I've played with them. I've met a few of the guys in the bands. It's just cool to it's cool to be a part of that and be on that list.
Yeah.
Um,
A band that I interviewed and that we saw at South by last year, South for Winter. They are a band from Nashville, actually. They
that's
were finalists as well for, I think actually an Americana as well. So yeah, yeah.
nice,
But
nice.
definitely a talented band. So as they know how to pick them, I must say, like
Uh,
they definitely are good. Like they can seek out talent. So
yeah, well,
and
it's
you
an
guys are,
honor. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
good
an honor to be on that
representation of that.
list. Yeah, but
So
yeah. No, I'm sorry.
yeah,
What was that?
no, yeah. With Wind's Gonna Blow. So is that Daniel that sings that as well then, or who
Uh,
sings?
that's me.
Marvelous.
That's
That's you.
me on that one. Yeah, yeah. Wind's gonna blow. I've had that demo on my computer and my phone since the oldest one that I could find was from like 2016, I think 2015. So it's been in the vaults for a while. I was trying to figure out what to do with it. Maybe you know record it with the prior band, and I'm glad it didn't get recorded with them. I had a very, when I go down the demo wormhole, I spend way too much time demoing songs. So I had a very like solid idea um, of what I wanted it to be, and I can be pretty hard headed in the studio and with my ideas. But I brought that song. I think Colin, you were the one that encouraged it to even be recorded.
Oh,
I
I
think
was pushing
I
for it. I heard that. I was like, that song can't just not be recorded.
yeah, I had I think if it wasn't for Colin's words of encouragement, I don't think it would have come out of the vaults, man. But I'm glad it did because
Me too.
what the boys did to it, it happened better. It came out better than I could have imagined.
It has a Counting Crows kind of feel to it. Um,
I do love the Counting Crows. I'm not
I
gonna
love
lie,
it.
man.
Yeah,
Everyone's like, "Oh, Mr. Jones!" Like, "Oh, one hit." It's like, no, dude. Listen to every single album. They like carried on the legacy of the band, in my opinion. Just Americana before the idea of Americana was.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just the way, yeah. You caught me on that one. I do love the Counting Crows.
well, it's funny because the song itself sounds like it has, like I said, it has a Counting Crows feel to it, but like You in particular, I don't know, are you familiar with a band called Augustana?
Your name is some of my favorite bands, man.
You
In high
sound
school,
you sound a lot like Dan, like on
dude,
that song. Like if you listen
that
to their stuff, like
that means a lot to me because Dan Leyes, I think, is another like Daniel Davis in our band as that like perfect pitch. I've seen Augustana a few times, and I definitely did Stars and Boulevards in 2009. That was on repeat along with Counting Crows. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that.
yeah, yeah, and I think they just released a new album, like Augustana.
I think like a few days ago. I haven't listened to it yet, which I'm kind of ashamed I haven't, but I think they just did.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, yeah. I've been stuck on one particular album that I every time I go to Spotify, it just stays on repeat. So I need
This
to,
is this is one band I got to dive into a bit now. Yeah, it's
yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
you should.
I'll send you a playlist.
yes, please.
Yeah.
So that's a good segue. So like for both of you, what are your top three bands? Like what are your bands that like if I said, hey, we got tickets to this band tomorrow, we're going to see them, artist or band, like what are your top three for both of you?
What you think, Colin?
I'm gonna list the Clash as one of the top for me.
Okay.
Something about them that they're uh, you know Joe Strummer was really influenced by Woody Guthrie, and he loved old rock and roll and country and folk. And he just took it to some wild, bizarre places, and I'm just I love what they've done. I love that they could put that into kind of a pop style punk rock, and but yeah, the Clash, Buddy Holly and the Crickets, one of my first ever um, influences. Uh, the Pogues also are a big one for me. They're another one that like uh, that they were like London Irish guys, digging deep into that well of Irish history and music and tradition, but also bringing out a lot of the American hillbilly stuff, bringing that along and showing how it's all combined.
Traditional music all kind of like ties together, but I feel like folk and bluegrass of the American variety and of the English and Irish variety are it's rooted in storytelling. It's rooted in
Yeah.
these melodies that yeah, no. So I didn't mean to cut
No,
you off, but I
that's about right.
definitely
I agree.
So what would you say then, Marco?
I feel that changes on like a monthly
Mhm.
basis, but for me when I was like in middle school and like early high school, I did have one toe in the waters of like the emo scene. I all my friends were way into that, and I was a little more on the punk rock side of things. But one of the guys to come for like kind of get started in the emo thing that is he wasn't Connor Oberst from the band Bright Eyes. I think everything that he's done, his writing is like it's funny that he was ever considered emo. It was
Hmm.
just good. It was just original, and everything he's done since it's just he's one of the writers, in my opinion, that can do no wrong. Like every time he puts pen to paper, I feel like he's like fighting for his life. Like he's tapping into something. Connor Oberst is definitely one of them. Around that time, a band that I just for nostalgia purposes, and they're still one of my all-time favorite bands, Rancid. Like I think that's a lot of us in the Exiles have like a little bit of a punk rock history in our youth. So yeah, Rancid was like the first punk band that I heard. It's like this is loud and fast and energetic, but the production incredible. The harmonies, like it's a well manicured album, but it's intended to sound chaotic. But they just, I mean, with Out Come the Wolves, they nailed that. So yeah, Bright Eyes
They
Rancid,
evolved
and
so well too. You know, that's one of the cool things
yeah,
about them. From their first album, they went in a lot of cool directions, I thought.
yeah, man. They evolved and they still stay true to their sound. You know, like yeah. I got to see him at Moody Theater, and I don't know if there had ever been like a mosh pit at Moody before, but I was in the middle of the circle pit, dude. Like, oh, I'm 12 again. I'm 13 again. Um, and then the Stones. Yeah, I mean, Exile on Main Street is one of, if not the greatest rock and roll records for a reason, man. A couple of skinny British dudes doing American music just as good, if not better, than a lot of American artists. You know,
Yeah.
um, those are my top three.
I love both of your choices. My top two never change. My third does rotate, kind of like you said, Marco. But Radiohead for me is number one.
I was gonna
It'll
say,
Yep. It'll there's no one that will
that's the
beat
poster and the
Radiohead.
clock.
Yep. And then number two is Pearl Jam.
Awesome.
And
Nice.
number three right now is Manchester Orchestra, but it can be Wilco, it can be Dawes, it can be Young the Giant. It's all of those kind of rotated.
So right after this band called The Format broke up, the Format
Dude,
was what?
oh
Yeah,
my
you're a
God.
fan. Yeah, I saw The Format with Manchester Orchestra in where was it? I want to say it was Albuquerque, and it was like Fun had just started, and like Aim and Ignite I think had just come out, and it was like, oh, this is incredible, you know. But
Dog
yeah, Manchester
Problem
Orchestra is amazing.
Dog Problems is so good. Like the
Oh,
format, oh my God, the format
she,
is
she doesn't get it. Should have been
intervention.
like a it should have been a freaking hit for them, and it's yeah, that's
Yeah.
great, man. Yeah, Manchester Orchestra is incredible.
Yeah, their what is it, Valley of Vision, that YouTube
Mhm.
video that came with that. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
It's the whole album, but a like video version of it, and it's like
Yeah,
it's fantastic. If you
well,
haven't seen it,
he's a true artist. Man, I forget the lead singer's name, but
Andy Hall.
everything that I've heard from him, like yeah, but Phoebe Bridgers just covered one of their songs and
Yeah, The
blew me
Silence.
away.
Yeah,
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 blew me away. But yeah, similar interests there.
yeah, definitely. So we did talk about our influences, but Colin, we can't speak about influences without talking about your dad, Jimmy Dale.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, what does it mean to you to be his son?
Well, it's been wild growing up with him and watching his whole path. You know, like as a kid, um, after about I was like a year and a half old. My parents split, so we we wound up in my mom and I wound up in Lubbock, and my dad would come back and visit. But I remember he and my mom and then their friends would just like sing in people's houses. You know, that was the main thing. That he and Joe Ely too that get together mostly at Jesse Taylor, their guitar player, Jesse Guitar Taylor, his mom's house. She lived she was very poor and lived in a just kind of like almost like a little like just this rundown neighborhood in East Lubbock, and we'd go over there and watch him play on the porch. You know, they'd set up a full band and play a rock and roll show on the porch, throw a party, and so that it went from that to nowadays where he's considered a big legend. You know, and it's it watching him become so influential later on. You know, Wilco said they were influenced by the Flatlanders, and all those guys were, and it felt a little validating. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, there was something really going on here from those, or like, like being a kid and watching my dad like on the Lubbock News playing. We're like, hey, look at that. He's and so but musically, he's always influenced me. There's something about it's his songwriting, absolutely, and his voice, but also just his taste in music's amazing. It's the songs that he picks and that he gravitates towards, and it goes back. When we're sitting around the house, people always kind of request the same songs of his or of songs of like Al Straley or Butch Hancock that my dad does. But he'll always pull out just some random song from like, I don't know, the 1930s or something, and just start playing it. And we're all just like, how do you know how have you made a career out of the same group of songs, and yet your knowledge of it just goes off into the horizon, there's something about him. And I think that's part of what made the Flatlanders and their whole group of friends become so influential, is just the transfer of energy that they were able to, that they were able to pick up on and hand off to each other or borrow. It was never just one of them going, all right, I'm a genius songwriter, with the brilliant voice and star quality. It's like that whole gang of them all handed things to each other, and it kind of kept them all going too, kept them all afloat somehow and relevant.
Sounds like another band that you're in currently, huh?
Oh yeah, that's how it feels. I mean, that's
So
the fact that we show each other the songs that we show each other. It all gives us a feeling of like, oh yeah, we're still, that's how we keep this lightning in a bottle going. That's how I keep it stays on.
yeah, yeah, kind of like the lyric. Yeah, definitely. So so what does he like when you guys open for him? Like, what does he say about you guys? Like, does he like give like feedback? Is he like, man, like that song wasn't good, or like, like what does he say?
I'm the mediocrest guitar player that I know. I am not a great guitar player. I'm not. There are so many people who are better at playing. And then Jimmy's like, that was a great solo. That was like that alone coming from Jimmy freaking Dale Gilmore. Like that's gonna keep my engine running for a long
There's
time.
there's real chemistry, that between all the members and my dad. I can tell, and it's genuine. It's like, I don't think, I know for my dad and for the band, like it's all a bunch of really, you know top-notch musicians, but it's not, none of us are like big, none of us are like virtuosos in any one instrument, but it's, I think with my dad seeing us live, like, is what made him want to do it. He came up with the idea. It wasn't even my idea. He was like, hey, how about, why don't, we all do a show together? And I was just like, yeah. I was like, I love the idea. Let me check with the guys, but it just works, it works really well. And it's, when we're doing his songs, he's kind of got his, I don't know, he like, the guys kind of caught on to that. He'll have a couple of things of like, all right, uh, wait till I get through a full verse and chorus before you throw in any fills in there, and then we set it all. But after that, it's just kind of like, I don't know, Marco, wouldn't you say we're all kind of building it together? He's got some like pointers, but other than that, we're kind of creating it all together.
Yeah. It's I think it's the first time that I've been tasked. I've always had I've never like played guitar for someone. I've always been the guy to, play three chords and sing out of key. So it was cool attacking Jimmy Dale songs, like trying to learn the stuff as it was on the record, a lot of these songs.
Yeah.
And then we would kind of get together. I would fumble something, or I'll kind of do my own thing. And I think, like Colin's saying, that's kind of how it kind of has become its own. The songs have become their own, you know.
It's got some character, you know. Yeah,
It does.
absolutely. Like Trinidad playing drums, he does it different than anybody else would, even when he's, you know, trying to work along a certain pre-done structure or anything. It's never. It's not going to sound the same way as somebody else playing with the same songs with the same set of directions.
So Trinidad, from the outside looking in, he seems to have like the most outsized personality of the group. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, T is
100%.
yeah, he's a character. We're all characters in our own right, man. But I think T is he's a character. He's a character. Yeah. He is the most loving, giving, kind, sweet-hearted person. But I'm glad he's in the band, because if something goes down, he's a big dude.
Yeah,
he'll take someone out. You know, it's
yeah.
You do not mistake his you know, kindness for being naive or kind of, no, he's sweet. But if he needs to throw down, man, he will. You're right, though. He is the character.
He is.
So so you guys, I got to see you play at Sea Boys, and I got to see you play at Meanwhile Brewing, which, by the way, man, their beer is fantastic.
It's great. I've never had it. Yeah.
Like, I've always felt like Austin's beer scene has been like, okay, like Zilker's good, but like, you know, other than that, that beer was really good.
I was impressed. I was thoroughly impressed.
And that was your last show, right?
Yeah, I definitely had a lot more beers after that show than I did for some of the other ones, you know. By that time I said, you know, forget it. I have time off now. I can
yeah, exactly. We're off the clock.
Yeah, I can wreck my voice a little bit.
So speaking of shows, like what does your audience and what do your fans have to look forward to for the next, say, you know, 3 to 6 months? What do we have in the works? Anything that you can share, or what's already on the books?
Yeah, I think we can say it, and if we can't say it, we'll then just, you know, cut this part out. I think we're picking up the Continental residency again. Is that public knowledge?
We are, yeah. We're actually filling in some of John D. Graham's spots. He's got to leave temporarily. He'll be back, but we volunteered to fill in his 10 o'clock slot Wednesdays in most of May, and then I think the first one we do is April 24th. That one I'm pretty sure we're doing that one with Madame Radar. They're going to do it also. Really cool band on the forefront of the Austin music scene, you know. And then in August we're gonna be doing the Braun Brothers reunion. The Reckless Kellys family puts on up in Idaho, and
we are going to be
Killer Fest, and
we are going to be.
We got some stuff
at that Braun Brothers. We're playing on the same day Steve Earle is playing, so that's kind of rad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. Yeah. If he just says hi.
Oh,
yeah. I'm gonna mess with that. One of my favorite shows of all time is The Wire. So I'm gonna be. Oh, you play music too? I didn't know that. I'm not gonna say that. They'll punch me in the face, deservedly so.
So,
but yeah.
I'm assuming living in Austin, both of you are barbecue fans then. Like, what's your both go-to spots for barbecue in Austin? Because everybody has their favorites.
What you think, Colin?
It's a moving target for me. You know, I'm ashamed to say I don't even know if it's still there or not, but Bert's Barbecue on the east side. I haven't been there in a while, and I don't even know if it's still there. That one's a really good one. I love Blacks. I love way out in Spicewood, Opie's. is a really good one.
Man, I haven't made it out there yet. I've heard.
And then
Oh.
Rudy's I could do all the time. So right.
Honestly, for me, growing up, I never had, like, barbecue wasn't in El Paso. Barbecue's not really a thing. So my initial experience, like, I got out on the road when I was about 19, 20, and we would play like just restaurants, like we'd play a lot of places, venues that every one of them said best barbecue in Texas.
Yeah.
And then I remember the first couple of times I had it at these random, I don't even remember where I like this. If this is what good barbecue is, I don't really see the appeal, But the one that changed my mind, it's not even native to Austin. I think it's native to Lano, maybe Cooper's.
Oh,
I think it was one of the first times I played Billy Bob's up in Fort Worth. That was the first time that I had barbecue that I was like, oh, this is like I get what you're talking about now. Yeah, Cooper's kills it. Leroy and Lewis, man. One of my buddies opened up a spot in South Austin, Cosmic Coffee, and they have a food truck out there. And Leroy and Lewis, they do interesting. They do interesting stuff with barbecue. And down here in Buda, where I live, Valentina's barbecue is. I used to live by the trailer when it was off of. Oh, it's not Lamar. Maybe it was off of road in South Austin. It was just the trailer, and first time I had it, just blew me away. So
yeah,
Valentina's, Leroy Lewis, and Cooper's. Those are my recommendations.
It's funny that you said Leroy and Lewis, because when we were in line waiting to get into C-Boys to see you guys, this local was telling, because I asked him, I said, hey, what's your favorite? And he said Leroy and Lewis too. So I haven't
been there in a while, man, but every time I go, it's just like, it's just done with, you can tell that there's time and effort, craft in it. And then they do like unique things with barbecue. And I love when it's, I love when there's like, they don't take the typical approach. I want to say there's like a new spot that I want to try that I've been hearing about, that maybe it's like African food and Texas barbecue kind of coming together.
Okay, I would try that.
See, that excites me. If it's done well and it's funky, I love it.
Yes.
And no
hey guys,
boys.
I hate to. I gotta run. Sorry about that. I forgot to tell you. I had to rush off now. But
all good, man.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Marco,
for sure.
hold it down for me.
Yeah, I'm all down, man. Yeah. Be safe out there, Colin. Love you, bro.
Yeah, I want to watch this as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Sounds good, brother.
Alrighty.
I appreciate you, man.
Take care, guys.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Bye. Like Smartless.
Yeah. my girlfriend loves Smartless, and that's why I got that from her.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what that is. Yeah. Okay. It's all making sense now. It's all making sense.
So I got to tell you, not just so in Hotel Tomorrow, obviously I love that lyric, but my next favorite lyric is in the song Exile. Man, dude, that song is so good, and I'm so glad that you guys played it both times at C. It was one of the songs that I did see at C-Boys, and then because I think that's one of my favorite songs that you do. But I'm hoping, did you write this lyric? Well, I'm out here trying to outrun my fate while I still got my boots on my feet. Like,
that was me.
Dude. It's so good.
I feel like all these songs that I grew up listening to, like that sad boy stuff, dude. Conor Oberst, Ryan, like the real emotional.
Ryan Adams,
Oh yeah, he's one of the. He kind of got me into like the Americana music. I think back when Jacksonville City Nights came out, that album, that one, and Cold Roses just changed the way that I approached putting a song together, writing a song. And it could be rock and roll and it could be country, and it doesn't have to, it takes the coolest aspects that I liked most of the time out of both of these and made, but Exile, it was one of those songs, like I have trouble, like, I think writing like fun songs, or like it doesn't for some reason feel like when I'm writing something fun, I feel like I should be writing, something,
Yeah.
moody. I don't know how to explain it. It's a stupid hang up in my head, but Exile is definitely a little more cheeky, a little more tongue in cheek, a little more I don't know. It's a little more lighthearted, but man, I've never had a real job, man. I worked at the county tax assessor collector office in 2008 or 2009, and then after that, I got on the road with my prior band, Dirty River Boys, and it's a lot of times it's great, but a lot of times it's like, am I going to make it home? Am I going to make it back in one piece? And you do that long enough, it's like you can't get out of it. So it's like you've created your fate, and sometimes it's great, and sometimes, sometimes you literally lose your boots on the road, and
But
yeah.
it's reinforcing the fact though that like when you truly find something that you love to do, like it's
Yeah.
an addiction, man. It's like it's a drug.
Yeah, I mean, for better or worse, man. I've seen some good times, and I've seen some rough times. And it's I think a story that I always kind of preface that song with Exile is that some people do music for a little while and they jump out, and the difference between them and me and the guys on stage is we've seen some rough times, and we've kind of gotten our ass handed to us, and I've had to go home and kind of lick our wounds. But the next day we got back in the van. The next day we got back on the road. We got back in the studio, So it's kind of the idea of Exile.
I'm sure you have a horrible tour story or some memorable, either with a venue, and you don't have to share the name of the venue or
Yeah,
format or something, like
there
either
have
with the
been
previous band or even with the Exiles.
there have been there've been a lot of great, not so great things have happened. I think one of the funnier ones with the Exiles is last South by. We still had quite a few shows, and one of the shows that we uh, we were supposed to play, we pulled up to where they said it was going to be. It was like a mobile kind of venue, and we showed up, and there was nothing there. We were at the spot, like the map says we're at the spot, and it was in a part of town that like is a little, I don't know, that we were getting some looks. We were getting some like, well, what are you doing here? Just waiting. Like dudes in man bun and skinny jeans, and like, oh, with my guitar, like a big old nerd, and we couldn't get a hold of these people, and only to find out that they didn't get the permits, or so we just had a show that just like fell out. They thought they were going to be able to set up and have a show wherever, and that wasn't the case. So that was definitely one of the we got the full South by experience because we had a show that just wasn't there.
Yeah. So other than just being the number of shows, like is there a particular difference from last year to this year that you can kind of like that you saw or that you kind of
Yeah, I think it was nice seeing people that I kind of remember from last year come like seek out our shows, like seeing people that are fans, that came to multiple shows, and uh, yeah, that was cool. And I think the opportunities that we got this year, I mean, we've been working our asses off since last South by, and I think the amount of shows that we got and the quality of shows that we got, I hope it's because we worked for them.
yeah.
But I think, yeah, that was just seeing the return fans and just getting the cool, like playing Tilka Brewing, playing Meanwhile, getting invited back to the Seaboys SoCo Stomp. Like the lineup on that, we managed to get that one last year and they had us back in both years. The lineups were just rad.
Yeah, we got to see Calder Allen after you, man. Like that guy's amazing.
Dude, yeah, he's actually kind of become a friend of the band. He's come to a few of our Continental midnight shows, and we've done a few songs with him. And the the boys, I was unavailable for this specific gig, but they were his backing band for one show at the Fort Worth Music Festival.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's what, 23?
Yeah, dude, he's got the thing, you know.
Yeah,
He's got the thing, and it's I don't know, making friends like that is it's just it's cool, man. It's
it
a
is.
privilege.
It is. Have you connected at all with the Bright Light Social Hour guys, or have you hung out with them, or have you met them at all?
No, no, I haven't. I want to say Eric. Eric probably has. Eric, I feel like knows everyone in the scene. Colin probably has as well. I no, I have not. I hope to.
Yeah, they're good. They're good dudes. I've yeah, I've been seeing those. The first time I saw them was in 2013, and I don't think the place is there anymore. It was on like West Sixth Street, but not too like before like Whole Foods, like not that far away. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, man, we saw them there, and like I was just sold that night, and like so we've
the
seen them like at
killer.
T-shirt Factory. We saw them at where did we see them this year? Somewhere on Sixth Street too. But yeah, they're freaking awesome.
Yeah,
But
just Austin. Yeah, I
it,
mean, just a
yeah,
testament
Black
to.
Pumas. There's so many bands that are just coming out. Like it's
Yeah, it's I think there's this. I have this talk with friends a lot, and sometimes you get I sometimes I get a little salty living in Austin, or I don't live there anymore. I live in Buda now, but it's far south Austin. It's
right.
becoming one, but it's hard for. I mean, I consider myself a blue collar musician. I work to eat, and it's hard for a musician to live in Austin these days just because it's unaffordable. But if anyone ever says, "Oh, Austin is, it's gone corporate, it's lost its edge," it's like, nah, dude, no, it hasn't. Listen to Bright Light Social Hour, listen to Black Pumas. Like that is incredible music coming from an incredible town.
Yeah, I do. I was disappointed in South by with the whole sponsorship thing and all the band. There was a lot of bands that backed out, and there was like four bands that I wanted to see that backed out.
Yeah, yeah. There
Um,
was who was it that I wanted to see that like I understand and yeah the um so I grew up. I wanted to be a fighter pilot as a kid. So like jets and like Raytheon, like those aren't Raytheon and South by Southwest. Maybe shouldn't cross streams, man. Like I get it. I'm not. I
what's
yeah
that line? Like poor bedfellows, right?
yeah
Yeah.
yeah. And who it must? I might have been like Spin Magazine that like was hosting the party, and yeah, that was maybe it wasn't. I shouldn't say it was them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was someone's like, yeah, maybe you should have given it a little more thought, But I guess money talks.
Yeah, and I guess it was a 3-year contract. So
Oh God.
yeah, like it's not, they're not going away
Is
next
that
year.
yeah? Oh, yeah, they're not going away, but people might be going away. But
Yeah,
it's like it's hard.
the
It's
world is
hard.
crazy. Yeah,
It
the world.
is, man. It really is. It is. But
Yeah. That's
yeah.
why we got to keep just listening to great music and supporting bands and artists that put out great music like you guys, man.
Well,
I
thanks for
told you,
that.
man.
Yeah.
Like I told you, if you'll have me, I'm proud to be an Exile, man, because you guys fucking.
Always, yeah. You're an honorary exile, man, and like just people. I'm always grateful for like my friend who I haven't talked to in 2 years, like sends me a new song or sends me a new podcast, and like thought of you, listen to this, and I think things like this podcast, like that is a vehicle to share what we do, man. So my thanks is to you. Thanks for doing the good work.
Hell yeah, man. Well, this has been great. I'm so thankful that you took the time to do this, and
Thank you.
thank Colin as well, and
I sure will.
all you guys.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for having us, man. We'll let's talk soon.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get you up in the Northeast.
I hope so, man. That is definitely on my end of the year want list.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, Marco, Thank you so much. The West Texas Exiles, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I've been Dogg. You've been great. This is the Music Lab Podcast.